Hello and welcome back to the Absolute Football Podcast, the last episode of Series 1. We've made it. We're done. Well, we're not done. We just started, but anyway. It's been another interesting week. Series 2 is going to be a lot different. Hopefully you'll see that when it comes out. But we're just going to tie up Series 1 by talking about the week of football that's just happened. Very interesting week. A lot of things to get through. So Tom, why don't you kick us off with your star of the week?
I'm probably going to be not very heartfelt with it, but I think the Premier League slowly now starting to get to a point where I think things are starting to level out a bit. We're starting to see who's going to finish where after sort of games. Not everybody, but I think the vast majority of clubs are now getting to a stage where you're there or thereabouts of where people are probably going to end up. I think there's obviously going to be the mid-table clubs that are going to float around anywhere
I fucking hope not.
anywhere between sort of like sixth and, there's a top five, and then everyone else. There's going to be a relegation four. Relegated four at the moment, it looks like, a top five, and everybody else is going to be somewhere in between.
You say that right, but hang on. Between Arsenal in 14th, just picking Arsenal off the top of my head, I don't know why, but in Arsenal in 14th, right? And Spurs in... Well, no, let's go West Ham in 5th. There's 4 points.
Yeah. But if you look at the table now and you think, okay, so City United win their game in hand, that puts the top five as... that puts the top six as Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea, Leicester, City, United as the top six.
Yeah, so where's Arsenal?
Top six. I said top five, mate, because I'm going to go on to one of those teams in a minute. But yeah, so that's the top five. I think it is with goal difference, actually. Yeah, so the top five would be Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea, United, City. Once everyone's played all their games, which I think is there or thereabouts going to be the top five, isn't it? Realistically, there maybe somebody might have a massive drop off, but that's probably going to be the top five. And for all the Ollie bashing that's gone on, I don't know how. I'm not having him as my star. I put Fernandes, and then I've changed it to Fernandes / Cavani.
Yeah, so mine is Cavani. Yeah,
yours Cavani as well. Yeah, I think. But then you can't argue that fair play to Ollie for bringing him half time. That's quite a bold move. It is a bold move.
Yeah.
That most people would have just kept it as is. Get to the 65th minute like everybody else does. Bring him on and hope for the best. But he gave him 45 minutes. Took Greenwood off. And to be fair, he showed why he's a world-class striker. And Fernandes just... Some of the stuff that you're seeing about him now is like I don't have him... Does he get to every club in the world?
I hate to say it, but yes, probably. Bayern,
probably
maybe
does,
not.
Maybe not where?
Bayern.
That's the only one I can think where he doesn't get in their team.
Liverpool?
Because maybe he doesn't, because of the way he plays, maybe not Liverpool, but he's a better footballer than what they have. He's better than Wijnaldum.
Oh.
And I think their first choice three would be Thiago, Henderson, Fabinho, possibly. And I'd rather him than...
Yeah, individually, I know what you mean. I'd probably individually rather him than Wijnaldum. I just don't like him. He's a very good footballer.
Honestly, I didn't like him.
I don't like him.
I didn't like him, now I do. So they scored the equaliser in the 85th minute, or whatever it was. And a couple of the players ran away celebrating. And there's footage of him on the pitch screaming at them to get back because they already took 2-2. Bear in mind that they were 2-0 down. Possibly could have been even more because they just got handled. So yeah, I think he's mine, Fernandes, because he's done a couple of things in midweek as well, and he's now starting to pick it up since I took him out of my fantasy team. So he's I think it's and his game against Everton, which we didn't really speak about last week.
Yeah, no, he was very good.
What happened? Yeah. So we didn't speak about Everton game. So yeah.
Speaking of fantasy Premier League, I took out Bowen this week.
No, you didn't.
Did I not? Did I leave him in?
No, you left him in. Yeah, I was checking because you had a good week.
Yes.
You had a good week. Yeah.
Did I? Oh wait, I thought I put Vardy as captain, and so I was thinking,
yeah, you did. He still got an assist. It's not the worst thing.
Yeah, it's true.
So I'm gonna go Fernandes. Yeah, for me, I think Fernandes is not just for this week, but now he's starting to get back to where he was last season.
Yeah, I mean, he's very impressive. But I just don't like the way he kind of conducts himself, like, to referees. He just seems like it's just very over the top, and it's like really aggressive. I just don't think it sets as a role model. I just don't think it's the best thing. I know, like, as a competitor, I get it and everything, but the amount of United fans that would, like, look up to him and just think that's acceptable, and it's just kind of not.
Yeah, but this whole role model thing, I don't really do agree with. I don't agree with, and I think we're going to talk about probably Maradona at some point, aren't we? And obviously the horrible news that he passed away. And you talk about role models then, and now everyone's eulogizing about Maradona, about, oh my God, he was this, he was this. He was so amazing, da 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 da. And everyone has talked about the good stuff, which is fair enough. But you can't, I feel like you can't have people aren't perfect. People have got their faults.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I think having Fernandes being a little bit too competitive isn't the end of the world. And no. I know I've seen you play five-a-side football, and you're not exactly a quiet player. So I don't mind him kicking off at refs, to be honest. Not really against it too much.
I just think also, I think the way he sort of dives a lot and things like that. So yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so going back to Cavani for a second, I thought he was ridiculous. When they signed him, there was a lot of people saying that he was kind of going to be the new Falcao, and it was kind of that sort of like vibes to it. It was never going to be. His movement has always been like world class.
Oh, that's where I disagree.
His finishing's always been a little bit ropey, so I was kind of expecting that to maybe be an issue, but his movement's always been brilliant. It's just his finishing, but his finishing was on point for that game, and he literally dragged them back in it. They looked a completely different side, so he's got to be my star of the week.
Yeah, I disagree with you a little bit there, but it was never going to be another Falcao. Like, why not?
Because Falcao's finishing was better than Cavani's. His movement wasn't as good, so like, he would finish pretty much everything before he came, and then he had his leg injury, and he was never as good after that. So like, it wasn't a surprise that he didn't do well, to me anyway.
Yeah.
Cavani's never had that kind of moment of not doing as well. He, like, whenever he's played, he creates so many chances, and so I just think he's more of a nuisance. Even if he doesn't score goals, he's more of a nuisance than Falcao was.
Yeah, fair. Because obviously Chelsea had a bit of back and forth with PSG. Well, it was quite a few years ago now, probably 3 or 4 years ago. And we played them in the Champions League the season that we won it. He was with Napoli, and they had that great team. Napoli,
that was a mad team, that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lavezzi,
what's his name? Marek Hamsik, them lot. So whenever we played him, I never got it. I obviously saw his goal scoring record, but it was in the French league, and you're like, he never really has done it in the Champions League for PSG that I've seen. And every game I've watched him, he's never really been that good. Obviously, he scores a lot of goals, and obviously done well for Uruguay, but I've never really seen it, to be honest. But yeah, he's obviously dragged them back into the last game. There's a reason he's gone from Napoli to PSG and spent so long at PSG, and then came to United and is, what's he scored, 4 now? 3 maybe? But he still hasn't started, which I find a bit strange. I guess.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I've never been overly impressed with him whenever I've watched him play. So I was as soon as I saw the sign, and I was like, well, it's another Falcao. It's happening again. And he's only had one good game. And don't forget, Di Maria had one good game for United. So
yeah, that is true.
I
think Cavani can be more of a, even if his numbers don't end up being, like an Ibrahimovic, which they're not going to be, and they never will be. I just think he's got more about him. Like Falcao, unless he was finishing everything that came in the box, there wasn't really much else to his game.
Yeah.
Whereas Cavani's movement, his work rate, he is just more of a nuisance. He will kind of chase down dead balls, box balls into the box. His movement is so good that he's hard to pick up, and he creates space for other players. So I wouldn't be surprised if his numbers don't end up being that good, but he is actually very impactful as a player.
Yeah, and he offers something different as well, doesn't he?
I think he's good.
He's such a big bloke.
Yeah, he does.
He's an absolute tank.
He's massive.
Absolute tank. So yeah, there's a good chance.
And you're right to carry on from what you were saying about sort of Ollie earlier on in terms of all the Ollie bashing. Yeah, you're right. Look, he made the decision to bring him on at halftime. And to be fair, I kind of do sort of I'm not swaying away from saying Ollie's rubbish because I don't think he's very good. But what I would say is that Arsene Wenger used to always say football is not complicated. You get good players on the pitch and they win.
Yeah.
That's as simple as it needs to be.
Yeah.
So the fact that he has assembled a very good squad, it's like I always say, oh yeah, but he's got no tactics. He just puts good players out there, and then they sometimes win. But I mean, is that kind of football? I do think it's progressed a bit, so it's not just that. And I think that's the bit where it's progressed, and it's a little bit different now. I think that's where he falls down. But I don't think he's, I think he does an okay job. I don't think he's awful. I think he does an okay job, but for Man United in my head, he just doesn't. He's not that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I see where you're coming from. But I think he does need a bit of credit for a couple of things that he's done in the last few months. And like I said, we don't really mind him being at United because they're never going to win the league with him. But there are a couple of things he's doing that do seem to be working. So you can't say he's a terrible manager. He's just not. He's not going to win. No,
and that's what we said last week. He's not terrible. He's just not a Man United manager. That's all we said.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So what in terms of stinker then? Probably we had the similar one for our star. We probably have the similar stinker.
No, I don't think we do. I reckon we're different this time. Mine's a little bit out of left field. I'm going Leicester.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and do you know what? I'm glad you have.
Bearing in mind that I was saying them like they're going to be top 5 and season sort of evening out and all that kind of stuff. But I've seen some stats this week that are concerning, personally. And I do think Brendan
Is it around the chances created by any chance?
Yeah, so chances created, the only 2 teams who've created less than them or are on a similar level, I don't know the exact figures, but the lowest 3 creative teams in the league are Burnley, Arsenal and Leicester. So I feel like that's a concern because obviously we've spoken at length about Burnley and they only got their first win last game, I think, so still in the bottom 4. Everyone knows what's going on at Arsenal, that's quite clear to see. But Leicester are doing it, nobody's really talking about that stat because they've had 7 penalties this season. 7 penalties in 10 games.
It's like we said before, didn't we? That Jamie Vardy has the most unique talent I have ever seen in football, in that he is the best in the world I've ever seen at winning penalties.
Yeah. So they've got if they, and it's like we did say that towards the end of last season, I think, when we were chatting about it, that you take him out of this team. Oh, it's a real worry. Like they've got good players, like we've spoken about the right and left back, so Fofana and Castagna. Like Tielemans is playing some of the best football he's played at Leicester, I think, at the moment. Playing great football. Kasper Schmeichel's probably one of the best keepers in the league. So they've got a really good team, and that Mendy, they've got midfield's pretty decent. But you take Vardy out of it, and it's a concern, I think, because they've scored 7 penalties, but are they? And you could say, well, anybody could score those penalties. But how many of those has Jamie Vardy won? He probably won 5 of them. So
yeah, well, in the opening 2 weeks, he won 4.
Yeah, because he had that game against City. Bearing in mind, the least chances created, didn't they score 5 against City?
God, that's incredible. Yeah.
So
how have they done that then?
Yeah, exactly. So what are they doing outside of that one game? So everyone, I think, because they had that big result and they're quite happy with the league, nobody's really talking about it. But I think it's got to be a concern for Leicester fans. It's got to be. Like, those stats aren't good.
Yeah, but you say that, but this season already, they've beaten City and Arsenal. So
yeah, they've beaten one big team, yeah.
Yeah, I know, and City, they're on their way up. So.
Yeah, City, they beat 2 mid-table teams. You're saying they beat big teams. Those teams sit 11th and 14th at the moment, mate. It's mid-table fodder.
Yeah. Well, no, I know. But to be fair, actually, funny enough, without sort of seeing those stats, I thought to myself, when in the midst of my frustration at Arsenal, I thought, oh, do you know what? I wish we'd just go out and get Brendan Rodgers and play some attacking football.
Yeah.
And then you look at the chances created and you're like, well, hang on, how has that happened?
Yeah, because he's done a really good
job. Is it
job.
Just the teams they played against? I don't know.
Well, no, because they've even looking at it now, they've lost 4 games this season still. They've lost 4 out of 10. They don't draw games, basically.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure who they've beaten off the top of my head, but they've lost the same amount of games as Leeds and Newcastle. So, yeah. I mean, it's Newcastle. So they've lost the same amount of games as Villa, Newcastle, Leeds, Everton. So they've lost quite a lot of games. It's just Vardy, isn't it? It's that Vardy factor. And you can't even imagine the value that he must bring to that squad. they take him out of there, and it's with him. I know we talk about it that his energy is incredible, but at some point his game is centered all around pace, and as soon as that goes, which it could be one of those that he just gets a dodgy hamstring just after one game for playing too many games in a row, that he could be out, and then he's not the same player again. They're like sort of Torres, Michael Owen, that kind of stuff. I know he's probably got more to his game than those two players had, which sounds mad to say because he's done it for longer. He's had a longer career than both of them, really. But yeah, I think it's a concern. I think for Leicester, I think it should be anyway. I don't know what their next run of fixtures.
I think, to be fair though, I think from memory, Brendan Rodgers never has a good start to his second full season in charge. Because I remember at Liverpool, his first full season, they nearly won the league, didn't they? In his first full season. Yeah, that was his first full season. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure of it anyway. And then the start to their second season wasn't very good. And then at Celtic, I remember at the start of his second full season, they were really poor in the Champions League. And there was sort of talk of him getting sacked then. So I think there's something to do with that. I don't know whether it's he trusts players from the season before too much and sort of doesn't change the system. I don't know what it is. I do think they've lost a huge player in Chilwell. And he seems to be favouring Fuchs on that kind of side as his replacement, rather than in the early weeks against City, for example, he had James Justin on the right and he'd have Castagna on the left.
Yeah.
And he's kind of gone away from that, and he's putting James Justin at left back, although James Justin was right back in the Fulham game. I don't know. I think it's maybe just trying to find the right balance again. It seems odd to be saying about a team though who beat Man City 5-2, sorry, that they have created one of the least amount of chances this season. That's pretty weird. That.
Yeah, so I just think it's more of a sign of concern, and I think that's, like I said, probably just it could just be a bit of a blip, and they'll hit the ground running. Jose Perez isn't playing much at the moment, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems a bit weird. I think it's a bit worrying. It is a bit worrying because Brendan Rodgers does have maybe an unfortunate reputation for being a bit of a nearly man. Especially with the fact they bottled the job last year. And the only reason they bottled
was mad. That didn't get talked about enough, actually.
Well, the only reason they bottled it is because Vardy went, wasn't it? But it doesn't get spoken about enough. Is because if you'd have given Leicester fans fifth at the start of the season,
they would have snapped your hand off. Yeah.
So because they are a mid-table team, really, aren't they?
They're
overperforming, in all honesty. So yeah, I'm going to stick with my stinker because I didn't want to do the obvious one. What's yours?
What do you think mine is? Honestly, what do you think it is?
So many it could be. Is it? I'm surprised your star wasn't Willian because he got an assist. Is it the fact you haven't scored a goal in open play since game week 4?
Yeah, honestly, mate, I don't even know where I even go with it. I'm not even like.
Did you watch the full 90 minutes?
Yeah, I watched the full 90 minutes. So the big issue for me now is, and I had it with Mourinho at Man United. I had it with Emery during his time at Arsenal. When managers start becoming and start sort of speaking to the press and they just sound deluded. Not sound deluded, they are deluded.
Yeah.
So Arteta in his after-match press conference said Wolves had 2 shots in that first half and scored 2 goals. Wolves had 5 shots in the whole game and they were all in the first half. Yeah, literally, their goal for their first goal, the guy headed it and hit the bar. I don't know if that counts as a shot on target. I think it does.
No, I don't think it does.
And then it came back. Does not. Well, anyway, it came back out and the guy followed up. So there's... Okay, well, I'm going to count it as 2 because I think it is right. So there's 2. The second goal, the guy literally, Neto had a shot and it came back out off Leno. And the guy followed up and had another shot. So that's 4 already.
He's probably counting those. He's counting those as 2 chances, though, isn't he?
Yeah, fine. Well, yeah, but say 2 chances, not 2 shots. I mean, and then he started saying, and he said it the last few weeks. He says this is his line: "We are creating enough chances to win these football games. We are just not finishing them."
Well, that's not true.
Now that is fucking bollocks.
That's factually inaccurate.
that is factually factually inaccurate, but also anyone with half a brain watching, if you're going to sit there and say that is a creative team, honestly, go fuck yourself. You don't know anything about football. Honestly, it's one of the worst football teams sides I've watched. It's so boring. I cannot get across how boring it is. It's awful to watch. And it's like I said to you, unless we score the perfect goal, or there just happens to be a weird one, like Willian crossing the ball and Gabriel, being stood up from a corner. Unless we scored the perfect goal where it's like we play it out from the back and it's so structured attacking wise. I understand being structured defensively, I get that. But attacking, it's got to be, there's a little bit of structure to it. It's got to be a bit off the cuff, a bit fluid, all of this sort of stuff. It is so structured offensively as well as defensively that unless it is perfectly timed, every single movement to a millisecond, we don't end up with a chance. And usually the goals that we have scored that have been at the end of 40 passes or whatever, it's not even been a good chance. It's just been Aubameyang has cut in and scored from 20 yards. That's not a chance. That's just an individual brilliance. Do you know what I mean? We're not scoring, we're not creating. And this is what I mean. I'd understand that which he kind of has alluded to in the maybe a month ago, he was saying we're not creating enough. I'd like to have more shots on goal, all that sort of stuff. And you go, okay, fair enough. He recognises the issue. It looks like he's trying to sort it. When it starts changing to we've had enough opportunities and we're not scoring them, then it's like, well, okay, I start to lose there. And it's the same way I said to you, I've started to lose him with the Ozil situation. Stop lying. I can't. Fair enough if you just call a spade and a spade is shit. that's fine. But don't just go. This spade is giraffe. Whatever. That was a good analogy. Top class analogies there. Thanks. But anyway, don't just call it something it's completely not. I don't know if you watched the game. Did you watch the game?
No, I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't get a chance to watch much football this weekend. But
okay, well, I'll talk you through. Right, we literally had the Gabriel header is not a chance. Right, it's not a chance at all. Okay, piece, really. We had a couple of moments where Bukayo Saka got in around the back and delivered quite good balls across, but there was no one really on the end of it. Aubameyang looks awful. He looks really bad.
What's happened there?
It sounds like the Ozil effect, which I don't like saying, but get a new deal and then just stop fucking playing. But I don't know. It seems that way anyway. I don't like to sort of level that at players, but it seems that way. Bukayo Saka missed a great chance. I'd say the one great chance we had of the game was him. And then there's in the second half, Nelson had a chance, right? It wasn't really a chance. It kind of came to the back post. He chested it down. It was on the way up on a bounce. There was 3 Wolves players flying in at him. He had a volley. He should have done better. I would have expected him to do better. But equally, if it went over by about a foot, which it did, it wasn't like that was a ridiculously easy chance. Yeah. Apart from that, nothing. Literally nothing. There wasn't any moment that we looked dangerous. Ceballos created nothing. Xhaka, shock, created nothing. Willock tried, but like I said, looked lax. He just kept giving the ball away, kept getting it intercepted off of him. Willian was just... I know he got an assist, but he's fucking dreadful. Bukayo Saka was good. Nelson looked really good when he came on. Aubameyang, awful. Bellerin, awful. Kieran Tierney was rubbish. David Luiz was all right until he had to go off. Holding was okay. Leno, again, his handling is just... I know you say he's world-class, but to me his handling is just awful. And his distribution is so slow. There's nothing coming from the attack because we don't get it out of defence and midfield quick enough. So the whole team just looked really, really poor. And I just don't know where we go from this now. I really don't.
I think that's the problem. I think it's with every other team, I think, who we're talking about at the moment, where we talk about Leicester, we talk about United, I'd be more hopeful that United have got something in them because they have a couple of those X-factor players that could do something. Because they do have Rashford, they do have Greenwood, they do have Martial. Now Cavani's obviously starting to play a bit. They've got Fernandes in there who's always going to pull them out. You just don't... I think what was... You told me the stat last year. Without Aubameyang's goals, you'd have been bottom 4 or something like that, wasn't it? At some point? It was ridiculous stat.
I don't know.
I think it was last season. If you took Aubameyang's goals out of it, you were I can't remember where you were in the league. So he was your Fernandes, really, and now he's just stopped playing. So,
by the way, Tom, as well, it's not as if I understand people saying the service isn't there and stuff, right? But we got into good positions. I will give that to Arteta. We got into good positions. The ball in was a good ball in, a ball that he usually is as a poacher. Is there sniffing out the goal or being a nuisance or whatever, and he was just nowhere to be seen. In the 94th minute, he was out right wing trying to cross a ball in. And it's like, what the fuck? What is going on? And it was an awful cross as well.
I'm being honest, mate. You look at midfield, when he started the game, Do you want to know what I think it is? Right, I think he only thinks the attacking lineup that can create chances for him is Pepe, Lacazette, and him on the left. That's what I genuinely think. I think when none of those are playing, he loves playing with Lacazette. I don't agree. I don't think Lacazette is whatever. But I think he loves playing with those two players, and it's almost like he switches off when. It's either that, or I read in an interview recently that he said since becoming captain, he is like thinks about his game a lot more, and he's like trying to be more focused on the pitch and stuff. Now, obviously, the interview was meant to be in a good way. The only thing I can think of is he's an offensive attacking player that has naturally done so well in whatever he's tried to do in terms of scoring goals. And by him trying to be more within himself and thinking and trying to be a role model and focus and all that stuff, I don't know if that has taken away from his sort of natural instinct. I don't know. But honestly, it's like looking at a different player. Yeah, because you were talking about it before, and you were saying about the reason you like having him out. Because we spoke about it before, wasn't it? Why is he down? Why is he on the left when he's your biggest goal threat? And Lacazette can't score a goal for Toffee. But you're like, I like him on the left because he runs back. But is he now trying to be the lead by example captain and do everything? Is it horrible because you don't want to strip somebody of the captaincy if they're doing a good job behind the scenes. But is he the kind of person who maybe doesn't benefit from being a captain? Is it worth having a player like a Granit Xhaka type? Is he a better captain to have? Or
yeah, well, I suppose where you like package it up in a different way, where you don't, where you don't say, on match day, I don't want you to be captain, but you almost just say to them, look, listen, in terms of organising the game and all of that sort of stuff, leave it to the people in the middle of the park. In terms of scoring goals and, creating chances for us, you get on and crack on and do that.
Yeah, forget your captain to a point, but you can't then, can you? Because you've got to speak to the ref and all that kind of stuff. So there are, I'm trying to think for a comparison. Cricket's a big one, where the pressure of being captain is known statistically to decrease the performance of a player. So batsmen,
really, that's interesting.
So batsmen Joe Root's England captain at the moment, and he was basically they were called like the Golden Four. They were the four best players in the world by an absolute mile. Joe Root then got the England captaincy, and his average dropped by like 10 runs a game. So because he's then not just thinking about that. Owen Morgan's the other England captain in different formats, and he's the same.
Wasn't Alistair Cook kind of similar?
Yeah,
as well?
It happens a lot because you're not just thinking. Because the problem you've got then is when you're not playing, it's all the other stuff that comes with it. That you've got to be here, you've got to be in team meetings, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. You can't then concentrate on your game as much as the theory. Other players, obviously, it doesn't affect them as much, but there is possibly a shout for it. Wouldn't be surprised. But the problem I've got with it at the moment is I look at that team. That midfield's my issue, personally, if I'm looking at it.
Me too.
So I look at the midfielders who played were Saka, who's young, very good player, but young. Ceballos, I genuinely don't understand what he does. Willian, we've spoken about. Again, Willock looks potential, young. Granit Xhaka, who else we got in here? Reece Nelson, and, Lacazette came on, but that was obviously a formation change. So you're looking at Reece Nelson, Granit Xhaka, Willock, Willian, Ceballos, and Saka. How many of them get into the top 4 squads?
Probably none.
We talk the top 5. Take Leicester out of it. Do any of them get into a Spurs team, a Liverpool team, Chelsea, United, or City? No,
and look, I don't think they do. And the only thing I can say with Arsenal until January now is Partey is out by the looks of it until. Yeah. And again, the Arsenal curse strikes again. He's missed like 3 games his entire career. We literally spoke on the podcast about how that was a great signing because he wasn't going to miss any games, and he literally played like 1.5 games and got injured for however many, like 2 months or whatever. So I'd love to know what's going on in that training ground, honestly. But anyway, what I would say is that I think when you're struggling this much to create chances, I just think you've got to get your best chaos players on the pitch. That's what I would say. I think you've got to have Aubameyang on there. You've got to get Lacazette in. You've got to get Pepe in. Saka's got to be in. Maitland-Niles has got to be in. Ceballos has got to be in. I don't get how you fit them in. They're chaos players who cause a little bit of chaos.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I don't know. Wasn't Nketiah on the bench? Yeah, Nketiah, I don't
think he was. Yeah,
I just don't understand it. Why you've got this?
I can tell you right
scorer.
now. Right now, I would drop, in terms of current form, I would drop Aubameyang for Nketiah. I know that sounds ridiculous, but the amount of balls into that box. I mean, Arteta did say we had like something like 30 odd crosses or whatever. They were shite crosses, not going to lie.
Yeah.
But there was a few of them that were very good, particularly from Saka, which is no surprise. His delivery is brilliant. And Aubameyang was just nowhere near where a centre forward should be. And Nketiah, fair play to him, he will miss chances. He is a bit like that. But he constantly, his mentality for getting goals is fantastic. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's better than Aubameyang. Aubameyang's got how many career-odd goals?
Yeah,
it's incredible. But currently, something needs to change in his mindset. And I don't know whether just being dropped for a game. I mean, what can we lose? We're 14th.
Yeah, can't.
Well, I mean, like, that's what I don't understand. Again, it's saying, we haven't got like a number 10 player anymore because of Ozil, which, we've been over last week. Ridiculous, right?
Dead horse,
but why not then just give one of the youngsters a chance? Emile Smith-Rowe. Just give him a chance. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Honestly.
Yeah, so the thing that was really worrying, because I wanted to look at it, because I find it quite interesting that where you were and where you are, because the stats come out of where you were when you sacked Emery. And it was at the same point of the season, I think it was 9 or 10 games in, you were on 18 points, sitting 5th or 6th, I think it was. Maybe 8th. So it's like quite ironic that he got sacked for being in a much better position than you were currently in. I know you say about him not playing well, and he took Seoul out of the club, but you can't be playing. You weren't playing this badly. I'm sorry, you weren't. Playing this badly.
No, we were. Yeah, we were. Yeah, no, mate, you don't. Honestly, you don't know what you're talking about. We were playing way worse than we were playing.
Scoring
now.
more goals.
As in we.
Scoring.
Yeah, no, we did.
Goals,
we didn't concede. Yeah, but we didn't concede less. We literally, mate, honestly, every single time.
Score goals to win games.
Yeah, but every single time we scored a goal, it was literally, I can't tell you the luck that went in. I cannot tell you the luck that went in. And I cannot tell you how every single game we should have lost 5-0. That is the truth of it. That is absolute truth.
But now you are losing.
And also, I would say, but what I would say is that Arteta has played so far, what has he played? Man City, Liverpool, Man United, Wolves, Leicester, who are, very good sides. You can't say they're not. I know we were saying about Leicester a second ago, but they are good sides. In terms of what they were maybe a year ago, they're better, I'd say. Maybe not Leicester. Leicester were obviously on their own thing last year. Emery in that first 10 games, I can't remember off the top of my head exactly who he played, but I know that we played like Watford. I know that we played like loads of teams that were just complete no-shows, basically. And we got battered by them. So I know what you're saying. It hasn't improved massively. I'm not saying Arteta, is, great and all of this, because he's not. But we're closer. Then we have more of a plan at least now than we did back then. The plan is not good. It's not a good plan.
Yeah, I was going to say,
but the plan back then was ridiculous. Honestly, ridiculous. Well, yeah, pretty much. Well, it was ridiculous. So,
but look at your next 5 fixtures. I would say, without taking the mick, one of them is an expected win based on how the other teams are doing at the moment. Only out of the next 5, you've got Spurs away.
Yeah.
Burnley at home, Southampton at home, Everton and Chelsea. Maybe the Everton one because of how well they're playing at the moment. But that's you until the 29th of December. And possibly, if we're being generous, I reckon you win 2 out of those 5.
So yeah, I think, do you know what? I tell you what as well would be interesting is we'll probably start back up the podcast probably in the new year, maybe.
Yeah, probably new year. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see, after obviously this being the last one, Series 1, where we are in a month and, who's manager and what the situation is.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get sacked. I think he's got the backing of the board. I think he'll now say to them, this is what I'm imagining behind the scenes. I think he'll now say to them, you stopped me from playing Ozil. I didn't choose not to. You stopped me to. I now can't create anything because the way I play rely on that one individual brilliant creative player.
That type of player,
That type of player. So now go out and sign me that type of player. And if you sign me that type of player who's as good, which, I mean, I can't think of many, but, or at least has the potential to be that good, then in the second half of the season we are still as poor, then by all means sack me. That's what I think is kind of the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah. Well, so that sort of brings me on to something I wanted to talk about then. On the back of quite a good segue. On the back of the whole Maradona thing. So obviously Maradona passed away. Horrible news. So young, such a great player. Neither of us ever watched him live, so it's always I always find it difficult to have an opinion on somebody I've never seen play. But the way that people talk about him is
we've seen the clips as well.
Yeah, you've seen the clips. You've seen that goal against England and stuff like that. And the pitches they were playing on, and the fact that he was playing games drunk and off his face on coke. So you imagine if he wasn't. And there's a quote from him saying he was asked what his biggest regret was. His biggest regret was imagining the player he could have been if he didn't take drugs. Like, Jesus Christ, you single-handedly won a World Cup whilst doing that. So you think, amazing. But my point then is, and it sort of goes quite nicely with what you're saying about Ozil, is football losing that?
That's so funny. I was just going to say to you in this podcast episode, on the back of the Maradona thing, so it's really funny that you brought it up, but I was going to say he was a player that when you watch him and you see the clips of him and everything, the minute he picks up the ball, you're on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
Ronaldinho is the exact same. Mm-hmm. Messi, exact same. Bale. I mean, there's loads of players. Bale when he prime Bale, yeah, prime Bale used to never know what was going to happen. Well, you did actually. It was going top bins, but there we are. Cristiano Ronaldo, young Cristiano Ronaldo, I think got me off my seat more than kind of mature did. So I think there's sort of the JJ Okocha. We can get go into all these sorts of players who just got you off your seat. And I honestly now in world football. Let's do it. Let's name the players who now have that effect.
Name me 10.
I don't think I could name 10 because I don't think we could name 5. Because current Messi is no longer that type of player. Still brilliant in his own right, but not that type of player anymore. So who are we actually left with?
Sancho runs at players.
Yeah, he gets me like he gets me leaning forward.
You were about to say semi leaning forward there, weren't you?
Yeah, he gets me a semi, and then but he doesn't quite get that full.
Didn't get you full throttle, yeah. Doesn't really get you up for it, does he? Yeah.
Not quite, no. So okay, go on then. Other players. Are we saying prime Neymar?
Yeah, Mbappe does. When I see him get the ball in an inside left channel, I'm like, there you go. Yeah. Here's something coming. I don't get it with Neymar anymore because I feel like Neymar slows the game down quite a lot.
Yeah, okay, fine. So we'll do it currently then. So we've only got Mbappe. I think Neymar has the potential to kind of flick it on whenever he wants. I just think he's having a bit of fun in that.
Yeah, he does some amazing stuff, but
yeah. So I think Mbappe is someone who 90% of the time does. I can name you a bit of a curveball, but I was just about to say Grealish, 100%. And honestly, by the way, in terms of Arsenal going out and signing the player to change the season, has to be him. We won't, but it has to be him. Okay, so we got him.
Especially after that
Mbappe,
flick touch that he did against Belgium as well. The minerals that I need to have to do something like that.
Ridiculous. Do you remember the Suarez one over at Barcelona against Bayern Munich at the Allianz?
No,
one of my favourite first touches ever.
I remember the Neymar one against Villarreal. Was it Villarreal or Valencia?
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah,
insane.
That was good.
Okay, so we got
Mbappe, Grealish.
Yeah, because the problem I think you get with it now is that almost Liverpool have ruined it because what Liverpool was, they're just athletes, aren't they? They're just athletic freaks.
It's functional, isn't it? Yeah,
it's so functional, and it's going back to one of my favourite quotes in football was when Arsenal played Dortmund, and it's when you had Arsene Wenger and Klopp was at Dortmund, and Klopp said in a press conference, Arsenal's play is like listening to classical music. It's beautiful. The only problem is I like heavy metal, and that's what his football is. His football is heavy metal football. It's aggressive, it's to the point, it's functional, it's hard to play against.
Yeah. And do you know what I would say? Is it similar? Not in terms of style of play, because it's completely different, but in terms of the effect it's had on those individuals, do you think it's similar to kind of Mourinho's functional powerhouse team at Chelsea in 2004, 2005? That sort of team.
I think we played better football.
What, Liverpool
are playing. than what Liverpool are playing. Now, I don't think Liverpool play good football. I don't think they played a good.
That's an interesting shout.
I don't think they played good football last year.
No, last year they didn't. Last year they didn't play good football. The year before they played
good
lovely
football. They didn't score. Like, we don't forget, we had Iron Robin and Damien Duff and Joe Cole.
Iron Robin. Oh, Joe Cole as well. Yeah, see,
Cole's
that's the thing. Iron Robin. You're right. Iron Robin was an individual. There's another one off the edge of my seat. Iron Robin back in the day.
So we had those
Thierry
players.
Henry.
Everyone always talks about Chelsea being this functional unit because it's John Terry. Lampard wasn't a skillful player.
To me, in my head, whenever I think of Jose Mourinho's functional team, maybe it was a couple of years later actually, but Essien.
Yeah, those
Essien and like Lampard. That was like, ooh.
But then don't forget, Lampard was scoring 20 goals a season from central midfield.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Liverpool don't have that. It's all about Salah and Mane, and they need to score you 25 goals a season, otherwise they don't really get goals from anywhere else. So I don't think Liverpool play good football. It's functional.
No, I understand what you mean. I do understand what you mean. Yeah, I do.
But yeah, I think that type of player has died. And I think
Okay, go on. Name me one more. I actually cannot think of one more. In terms of edge of my seat, Mbappe, Grealish. Barkley kind of does, which is weird, but sort of does. But not properly. I tell you who else kind of does. Adama Traore. There you are.
Adama Traore.
Every single time. And that's not even like the same sort of player. He's just a freak of nature.
He tore you apart as well.
He tears everyone apart. Yeah,
Jesus
crazy.
Christ, what a player.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so him. Yeah, there's not enough of them, I don't think, at the moment. It's a bit too functional. It's too athletic. Everybody is. It is about.
So is football becoming a bit boring?
Yeah,
because they were the players that as a kid watching that on Sky Sports on the weekend or whatever. Watching clips of Ronaldinho on like YouTube before it was even really a thing.
Yeah,
it was like it was amazing. It was the best bit. Like, you'd fall in love with it because of an individual player like that. And you'd go out to your back garden and try like 1,000 times the tricks that he used to do.
Like
yeah. And it's like, if we haven't really got that, it's just I think when watching football now, it's so elite in terms of the athletic level and the tactics and everything like that it is a little bit boring.
But it wasn't at the start of the season, was it? Bearing in mind, we were at the start of the season, we were saying this is going to be the best Premier League season ever because
but we didn't. Intense. All we said was that there was a lot of goals, but a lot of the goals didn't mean that it was exciting individual play. It just meant that the functional tactics, athletic ability, did what it needed to do. I just don't think there's enough individuals anymore.
I think there are players out there who do have something like that, like. Bit random, but obviously I watched the Chelsea Spurs game and Ndombele.
Wow. Oh yeah, he's
God,
yeah,
what a player. So there are players out there, but I think they almost get like double marked out of games, triple marked out of games because the system allows, because everybody's playing a midfield 3 now. Nobody plays with 2 strikers, so everyone's just loading up midfield because that's the engine room, and it's just it's like going punch for punch for somebody. It doesn't make any sense, and I think. The problem is you don't have, because before when Maradona was playing, or when George Best is the other one who keeps coming up at the moment, they were playing against part-timers.
Yeah, it's so true. People who are overweight. Exactly. Yeah.
You even hear stories where Ronaldinho was turning up to games pissed when he was playing for PSG and Barcelona. You're like, what? And I saw a thing with Wayne Bridge and Joe Cole in an interview where they were for England under-18s. And they were saying that when Wayne Bridge came through at Southampton, it would be, are you having fish and chips or pizza after the game on the bus home?
Yeah.
And everyone would go out then on the Friday. Everyone would go out after the game on the Saturday night, and they would half the team would roll straight through Sunday night and turn up to training on Monday steaming.
And bear in mind, they were at that stage that they were more professional than they were like 30 years ago. It's just got more and more professional. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think maybe it's because you're now having the golfing class isn't there anymore because everybody's at such a high level, and they're at such a high level from so young. Like Tammy Abraham, I saw something about him joined Chelsea at 9, so he's just been sculpted. Every meal's been thought out. Every training session he's ever done, every gym session, every time he kicks a ball, it's done for a reason. So he's not going to be bad at football. I don't think he's elite. Personally, especially after the weekend, but Yeah, I think it misses those. I think that's the reason I loved Hazard so much, because Hazard was that at Chelsea.
Prime Hazard was another
Prime Hazard
one,
was it,
sure.
and it's just like those unnecessary flicks that now it's all very Jordan Henderson. I think. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like Jordan Henderson.
It's very like German engineering.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that.
It's very.
It's not a Ferrari,
and that's what I mean. That's my issue. No, and that's my issue with Arsenal is that it's all very like the attack has to be like it goes to him and then directly into him and then straight through to him, and that's the only way we will score. And if we don't do it that way, then you might as well just pass it back to the keeper and we start again, because I'm not doing it any other way. And it's like, oh come on, like let someone just pick up the ball and go for it a bit. Like it's fun. It was enjoyable. It's entertaining. Like,
and then you're not even. And then obviously we're not going to talk about it now, but VAR and stuff just that makes everything crap. So you're not even getting last night again. Ollie Watkins scores after missing a pen, being in a fantasy team. Fuming. So it's just stuff like that, and it's just there's a lot of the fun is getting taken out of it. And I'm not. My opinions on VAR are changing over the last couple of weeks, I must admit, a little bit to more being in favour of it. Surprisingly, so yeah, I think there's just a lack of it, really, isn't it? With players like Maradona, and it does make you then want to do a reset when you see the clips and you think football just isn't that anymore, is it?
No,
which is a bit.
No, it's not.
Frustrating.
It's a shame. It is a shame, and that type of player is so entertaining. But what I have found with football is that whenever over the years the athletic ability has kind of leveled up, that makes teams harder to break down and the tactics more important or whatever, there is always an individual youth player who is having to train against that, and then they level up. So like the way we were saying it gets more and more professional over the years, there is always like, and that's why to me, the players just get better and better. So when you're talking about the best player of the current time, they are usually the best player of all time because it's just constantly leveled up. So like Messi, like prime Messi, added to this generation in terms of then the athletic ability, the function, all of that, and understanding all of that, would be the person who can then break down all of that still. So like it's just waiting for that next player to come through, and it's like there is players who have potential to do it, like Jadon Sancho, Vinicius Jr., the Rodrigo at Real Madrid, that sort of thing. Mbappe, of course, he's already kind of done it and is already there. So they are getting few and far between. But there usually is then within the next 2 years one player that kind of gets it and they go straight on then. And they
maybe like an Ansu Fati or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then they have to train at that level. They get so used to doing it. They then want to be better than that level and are able to level it up. So it'd be interesting to see. But I hope it's not the end of it. Phil Foden for sure.
That type of player.
I hope it's not the end of it because it is what makes football so entertaining.
It never will.
No, and it is like, honestly, admit it, I've done it as well, where you tune into specific games to watch one player. Like, I've done that my whole life. And if we're getting away from that, that makes me really sad for kind of kids who are growing up and don't have that. Because I used to literally, when Spanish football used to be on, like Barcelona, watching Ronaldinho was just ridiculous.
Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, yeah.
Very, very true. Okay, so yeah, that was our sort of discussion around Maradona, and obviously very sad news, and the entertainer and the kind of inspiration he was for a lot of the nation, and he kind of provided them a lot of hope in a time that wasn't very good for the country at all. So yeah, it was incredible man.
One thing. Sorry to cut you off. Did you see the guy who works at the funeral home?
Oh, I've heard something about this. Did they take pictures of the open casket or something? I haven't.
Yeah, so he was one of the.
Do you know what it is? It's like I've never actually been the type, like the person who'd ever see I'd hear about these things on the news. Do you remember when Emiliano Sala, Cardiff, obviously, and that's the team that's very right close to us, and there was that kind of video that came out about him, and I heard about it and I never watched it. I can't bring myself to watch these things or see these things. I don't know why. I never Googled it.
I didn't see the picture.
I just can't.
But I just heard about it. And I just wanted to.
So what actually happened?
Basically, he was bringing the coffin in, and when nobody was looking, him and a couple of guys who were working there popped the casket open and taking selfies with his corpse.
Jesus Christ!
I know.
Honestly, this world is just full of weirdos.
Yeah. Messed up.
Not you listening.
I just want to bring that up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, and I think it's such disrespect to a man who like you said, he had his demons for sure. But what he provided was far more than sort of what his troubles, defined him as, basically. So yeah, no. Good to sort of touch on it before we move on. So kind of finishing off, this is obviously our last podcast of the series. It'd be good to, like I said, it'd be interesting in like a month's time to review and see where we are when we start up the next series. But I thought it'd be a good idea just for us to kind of go through the table, look at who's had a kind of a good season, who's having a great season, look at who's having an absolute stinker, and then look at who's kind of doing okay, and then where we expect to see a sort of massive change, basically.
Cool.
And it would just be interesting to see. So if you've got the table up, just start us.
So go top to bottom. We go what? So A to A to F.
We'll fly through them. We'll fly through them. We
F?
don't have to sort of have too much discussion around all. Yeah, we'll do an A to F.
A to F.
Yeah.
Okay, Spurs. Top.
Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do, just to be really quick, we'll do a A to F grade of current.
Yeah.
And then position in 1 month.
Okay. Fair.
Position on New Year's Day. Okay.
Ooh, busy Christmas period as well. All right then. Okay, so Spurs. It's got to be an A, isn't it?
A, yeah, for sure.
Can't be anything but. And position.
I'm going to go third.
Yeah, I'm going to go third as well.
Okay, nice.
Chelsea
Who's next?
second, Liverpool first.
That's what you're going with, is it?
That's what I'm going for.
So who's next?
Liverpool.
Okay. I'm gonna give them a B plus. B plus.
Yeah, it's really, I want to give them lower, but they've only lost one game. I think it's the things that you want to downgrade them for are things that are out of their hands, things like injuries. I think the thing that makes you want to downgrade them in my head is because they're just not as good as they were. So it seems ridiculous to give them.
I would be a B, except for the fact that the injuries they've had and they've managed to cope with it fairly well. Like no one's really noticed. So I'll go with a B plus.
I'm gonna go with the top. I don't know what the fixtures are, but yeah, probably top.
Yeah, I'm gonna go top as well. Yeah. Okay, who's next?
Chelsea.
I'm gonna go B plus again.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay.
There's been a couple of games where we haven't been top notch, but I think if we hadn't had Kepa and Caballero at the start of the season, we're top of the league now.
Yeah, that's a good caveat, to be fair, Tom.
If Edouard Mendy plays the first 3 games of the season, we're top of the league.
I probably agree with that. Yeah,
because we're only 2 points off now, and we lost to Liverpool, but Southampton and West Brom. You take Southampton, West Brom out of it, that's another 4 points, which were purely down to errors from players who were never playing for our club again. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so then position on New Year's Day, I'm gonna go fourth.
Fourth? I go second.
Yeah. Okay.
Second, I see.
The issue is I'm going to forget now where I've said teams.
Yeah, no, I think we should. I think scrap the positions. Scrap the positions because we'll forget it.
We'll look back and there'll be like 8 teams on 6th.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's when we were trying to do the predictions for the league at the start of the season. You forgot like Arsenal. You got down to like 14th. Oh god, but they're first. Oh well.
I should have put them 14th, really.
Yeah, it's aged like milk. Yeah, so we'll just do grades because no doubt we'll forget about it again. So Leicester.
Where are they?
4th at the moment.
It's not a bad season, is it?
It's not, but
they're 3 points away from 14th.
Yeah, and don't forget that you've got Manchester United, Aston Villa, and Man City all have a game in hand, and if all 3 of them win their games in hand, all of them go above Leicester. So Leicester do actually really more like possibly 7th, although Villa have dropped off as well.
Okay, Leicester. I'll go with a B minus.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay.
Oh, this is where it looks really good now in your predictions of Moyes and Mourinho out by Christmas. West Ham are 5th.
Yep.
West Ham are 5th.
I'm going to go with an A.
An A?
I thought they'd be relegation zone, mate. I genuinely did. They've been very good. To beat Aston Villa, that's a good win. Like they have been.
They were very lucky.
For West Ham.
Very lucky in that game. Very lucky.
I don't think you can say lucky.
To be fair, I watched a bit of that game. Watkins misses a pen, and I know they had a goal ruled off for offside last minute. That it probably should have been another pen. Have you seen, like, the guy's over him like this? It's like Maguire against Aspilicueta at Old Trafford. He's got both hands over him, like here, up by his neck.
No, I'm sorry. Just because I thought they'd be like 17th.
I still think they do. Yeah, but I'm going to
go with an A. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'll go B. B plus. I'll go B plus.
Nice.
Southampton. I'm giving them an A.
If they'd have beaten bloody United, I'd give them an A.
I'm going to give them an A still, because I feel like it's harsh after 10 games to rule them out of that after a 10-minute spell at the end of the game.
Yeah, but that 10-minute spell was very damaging. Very damaging. It was a really, but they were honestly, they were going to be my star of the week. I actually jotted them down as my star of the week. Hasenhüttl and Southampton in general in that first half, they were phenomenal. The level they dropped off in the second half was ridiculous. It was like night and day. I'm going to give a B plus still. I'm still going to go B plus.
I'm going to go for an A.
Okay, nice.
Wolves.
Oh, by the way, best wishes to Raul Jimenez.
Oh,
that
yeah,
looked
of course,
very nasty.
Did
you hear that? You didn't watch the game, mate.
No.
The crack. So genuinely, right, when the ball came in, yeah, when the ball came in, right, I'm honestly being 100% genuine. I was watching it on TV. I had the volume, pretty loud, so I could just shout. And I was watching it, and the ball came in, and the first thing I called for was a handball penalty because I thought that noise was the slap of a hand on the ball. I thought it hadn't gone up and he'd slapped it, and I was like, "Oh, handball penalty!" And then they were just both down on the ground. Then and I was like, "That wasn't his hand hitting the ball. That was the heads hitting each other." It was so loud. It was like a crack. It was rank.
One of my best mates is a Spurs fan, and we watched the. What did he do with Spurs? No, he didn't. He was with Hull. But the Ryan Mason one. So we talk about it a lot because the Ryan Mason thing. It sounds like somebody hits him with a baseball bat. So I can imagine what you're talking about.
He was pretty. Yeah, that moment you realised that it wasn't like what you thought it was, and it was actually just two heads hitting each other. I was like,
horrible,
pretty rank. But yeah, okay. So sorry, Wolves. I'm gonna go with. Where are they? 7th? Are they? 6th?
Yeah, they're about right. So
I'm just gonna go B. Steady Eddie B.
I think they're still overachieving, being there, but.
I don't know, Tom. I don't think they are. I think
with their squad, I think they are.
No, their attacking lineup, like Pedence, mate. He is absolute baller. Honestly, absolute baller.
He is. Really.
Neto is ridiculous. Adama Traore. I mean, Jimenez obviously normally they had Fabio Silva, and even Fabio Silva looked good actually when he came on as 18-year-old. I'm gonna go with a B, but I actually don't think they are overachieving. I think their squad is. I mean, Ruben Neves couldn't even get in the starting 11 on the weekend.
Yeah, but this is the thing because obviously it's the joys of fantasy football. They don't score many goals. They really, really don't. So although they scored 2 against you last night, I know it's all well and good, we do it all the time. You take them out of it. The only teams that have scored less than them are West Brom, Burnley, and Sheffield United are in the bottom 3. They've scored 11 goals in 10 games. So you say about their attacking lineup, they don't score a lot of goals at all. Yeah,
to be fair though, they haven't been playing Adama Traore. I think that lineup that I watched is the first time they've played that this season.
Yeah.
And that's got to be played every game. It was ridiculous to watch. It was really impressive. But yeah, I'll go with the B.
Okay. Everton.
I'm gonna go with a B minus. Maybe a C.
I'm going with a C because the drop off
started off. Yeah, the drop off has been heavy.
And so it seems like if you can't get Calvert-Lewin to get a tap in, outside of that,
I'm still going to go B minus because I think they're not that far off recovering it and going again.
Fair enough, yeah, and I think they missed Richarlison for 3 games, didn't they? Was it two
and they're missing Digne now as well, and they've got a Wordie playing.
Big player for them as well. Another player I had on a fantasy team and took out because of the red card. That only went to 1 game, got 2 assists in the next game. Love it.
Nice.
That's an interesting one. United.
Honestly, mate, though, to me, it's not an interesting one. Like they're a C because the amount of money they've spent and the players they have, they should be. There's no reason they shouldn't be above Tottenham. With a proper manager, so I'm going C.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, look at the team they have and the amount of money they've spent. It's got to be a C.
Yeah, but the thing, it's always one of those now, isn't it? Because I was looking into this again, and it's one of them that's difficult because they play. If Fred had gone to Spurs, he doesn't cost 50 million.
I know what you mean. There's the United effect, isn't there?
Yeah,
actually, and also they have a game in hand as well. Okay,
yeah, so they have a game in hand. If they get that game in hand, they're level on points with Chelsea.
I'll go with a B. No, B minus. They haven't played that game yet. B minus.
Yeah, they haven't played that game yet. But yeah, so you take that out of it. You take the premium they pay out of it. And I know we say all the players are worth whatever they're worth, but like they've overpaid for those players. They have overpaid because they have to, because they're United and everyone knows they're loaded, so they have to overpay for those players. So I'm going to give them a B plus because I'm feeling generous, because I feel like Ollie's improving. I think they've got take Fernandes out of that team though. They're nothing. But I'm really generous. I'm going to be generous to United for a change.
Nice. Okay.
Villa, got to be B plus for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a B plus. Yeah,
even in 10th.
Yeah.
So far this season,
B plus. So
the first 10 games.
I mean, they probably could get an A minus, because I was, they were expected to be in a relegation battle. So I'm going to go B plus though. Yeah.
If they'd got a draw last night, then they are eighth with the game in hand then, and VAR's snatched that from them, in my opinion. So yeah. 11th, City.
I'm going to go with
D.
I was going to say D minus. Yeah, D.
Fair enough.
D. Yeah, I do think they will come back though.
Yeah, they'll click at some point. I think they'll finish second. I stand by. I think Chelsea will finish third. I think they'll finish second.
Yeah, okay.
Bold statement, 9 games in. Not really. Leeds.
Again, I mean, look, the where they're expected to be, the way they're playing, and where they actually are, I'm going to go with a B plus.
So I'm going to go with this, and this is controversial. I'm going to go with a C because they're playing great football. Admittedly, they are playing good football, and they hit the post or bar 3 times against you, I think. So that could have been a different result. But I think I had them finishing about 12th, 13th. It's about what I expected at the start of the season. Because if you look at the teams underneath them, I think they're about where they should be.
But if they're where they're expected, that's not a C. A C is like an underperformer. A B
C is pass grade, isn't it?
Yeah, but like they're
C is
doing well.
C is a pass at GCSE. So C is you're at your level. So I think we've probably been a bit nice. We've been a bit nice.
It's just getting progressively worse.
I think Everton should probably be a C as well. To be honest, they're about where they should be. Newcastle. This is a very interesting one for me.
Okay, Newcastle, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to give them a B plus, because the amount of money they've spent, nothing. they got Jamal Lewis, didn't they? And they signed him, and that was a good signing.
And Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser.
Yeah, but Callum Wilson was how much was Callum Wilson? I thought he was. Ryan Fraser was a free. Oh, okay, no, they have actually spent more than I thought they did. Ryan Fraser was a free. Mm-hmm. Okay, Newcastle. Don't you know? I'm just going to go C. They're probably where they should be.
I think they've overperformed. It's weird. They've overperformed. They've got better results than I probably expected. I think because the team they've got is terrible outside of Callum Wilson, and they're so reliant on him. But they play the most turgid rubbish I've ever seen in my entire life. It's awful. It is actually more entertaining than Benitez's Newcastle.
Oh, Bruce's Newcastle is better than Benitez's.
No, it's not. It
is.
It's so bad.
Benitez's was awful.
Oh, mate, I watch Newcastle games because I've got quite a few Newcastle mates, and they're so bad. Horrendous football. But I hate to say, but it is almost effective because the players they've got, it does work. So
yeah, exactly, and they are where they should be.
Yeah, maybe C plus for me. I think they maybe should be a couple of places lower than they are.
Okay, fair enough.
Arsenal.
Who's 15th? Who's 15th?
Arsenal 14th. Arsenal are actually joint 15th, so we'll go with Arsenal.
Okay. Yeah, it's an F, and it's a major F. It's a major F. It's a U. It's a fucking U.
Yeah, it's a U. Unclassified.
Don't even touch it. Like,
don't want to talk about that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, we're going F then. Palace.
They're down there in 15th. That surprised me.
Level on
again,
points
the table is so congested at the minute. It could easily change quite significantly in 2 games.
It goes after Palace is Brighton, and then there's a drop off.
Yeah. Okay, so Palace, I'm going to go with a C because it's not that surprising they're there. But with the players that they have, is that true? I'd expect them to be a couple of places higher, but I think that's just because of how congested it is. I think once it
See,
settles down and we're in
I don't think
20
I would
games
though.
in,
Don't think I would.
no?
I think they're about. I think that's about their level with the fact they've got Roy Hodgson as manager because they
He's
don't
an
have.
alright manager.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Same as they'll just get there. They haven't got any invention in that team at all. They've got the players for it. They do.
To be
have
fair,
players
I
for
think
it.
they're scared of doing it because the last time they had the players for it and decided to play a different style of football was De Boer, and he didn't win for 7 games.
Yeah, but he might be the worst manager in the world. He might be the worst manager in the world.
There's a good topic.
You look at his record; it is atrocious. Every club he's been at has been a failure, without fail. And then they gave him the Netherlands job.
Yeah,
joke, absolute joke. So then we started on him, but yeah, they've got all the players to do it because you've got like Eze, Zaha, Andrews Townsend. They've got players who could do it. But yeah, I'm going to give them a C because they are about right, I suppose. 15's about right.
Okay. 16, Brighton?
Yeah, Brighton.
I'm going to go with to be honest, I think they've been so unlucky this season. That position is very unlucky for them. I think they, the incident at United, which we, probably right, but they've had they missed a penalty, didn't they, yesterday? Or the day before, whenever it was.
Yeah.
Mopé is kind of blown hot and cold. They could very easily
and they play very good football.
6. They do play very good football. I'm going to give them. I do still think they should be higher, but I think that's just the table thing again. I think if I'm judging on the Brighton games I've watched this season, I'm going to go with a C. Just leave it a steady C.
I go for a B because of how well they've played, and I wouldn't have been surprised they'd have gone. They could be the bottom 3. I wouldn't have been surprised if they were rock bottom. If they had a different manager, because the players they've got.
Graham Potter is a good manager.
Yeah, I think he's doing a great job, to be honest. Because they've got a couple of draws in there that, like you said, are a bit unlucky. That does put them a couple of places higher. I think they've been a bit unfortunate. So I'm going to go B plus for me. No, not B plus, just a B.
Okay, fair. 17th.
And then it's the other ones, isn't it? Then.
Who have we got left then?
So we've got Leeds, who won last night.
No, hang on. You said Leeds were 13th.
Sorry, Fulham.
Fulham. Okay. Well, they're 17th, are they?
17th on 7 points. But that's bearing in mind that's with the win last night.
Yeah, but do you know what? That is a big win to take them up to that in the table. They have been shite.
They've been terrible.
But the last 3 weeks, they have been quite good. They've given more of a fight. I thought they were down a long time ago.
I still think they're down. Personally,
I'm going to go with a C minus. Just because of their shit show with the first few weeks, but they have brought it back up.
I'm going to go with a C because although I still think they're going to go down, the fact they're basically a quarter of the season in now and they're not in the relegation zone, I think it's got to be seen as a positive from them.
Yeah.
I think they. Let's be honest.
Hang on, how many points have they got?
7.
And we're a quarter of the season in.
Yeah.
Who the fuck's below them?
Yeah, this is
What's going on?
So there's a couple of F's getting thrown around down here.
Yeah.
West Bromwich Albion are next. They're 18th on 6 points.
I'm going to go with a D because they have better footballers than Fulham.
They do have a better team. And to be fair, Mitrovic...
So they should be doing better.
Yeah. Do they?
Yeah, they do. No, they definitely do.
They've got a better manager as well, so they probably should be doing a bit better. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'll go with the D. Well, they are. That's where they're expected to be, isn't it? I suppose. But yeah, okay, I'll go with that. And then we're finishing off with 2 Fs.
Well, I don't know. Tell me who they are.
Burnley and Sheffield United.
No, Burnley are not an F for me. They are a championship side. They're an A plus. They are way outperforming where they should be. Look at that team. None of that team gets into a championship side. None of it. It's a shite team.
Well, no, interesting stat. I saw today there was a thing that Klopp has increased the value of Liverpool since he arrived by $700 million. or seven, was it pounds? Must have been pounds. £700 million. Then, based on the amount he'd spent plus the change in the value of the club or the value of his squad, sorry. But obviously, then that's the Coutinho thing and all that kind of shit stuff. But Sean Dyche has spent £28 million on that squad in total. £28 million.
Right.
And it's worth 125. And that doesn't include the fact that he sold Michael Keane. Who else did he sell? There's a couple.
Who else? Have Burnley even done anyone?
Burnley, who else they sold?
Hang on, so they had good keepers. No, Heaton expired, didn't he? And so did they sell him to Aston Villa? I think Joe Hart expired. Nick Pope's still
they sold somebody as well as Michael Keane. Or maybe I'm thinking of Tarkowski going.
Tarkowski's going to go, yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking
Mike
of that.
McNeil will probably go as well.
He's 30 million. Did you? Oh, genius. Tell you the reason that Sean Dyche is so wrapped up inside Burnley. Did you know he gets 2% commission on every... Was it 2% or 5% commission on every single academy graduate that gets sold?
Yeah. Yeah, but that then asks the question, who have they sold?
5%. 5%.
Yeah,
but the thing they're saying about he's going to try and stay in the job as long as possible until they sell Dwight McNeil, because they sell Dwight McNeil for his asking price, which is 40 million. He's going to get £2 million in bonus because he gets 5% commission on it.
Yeah, not bad.
Genius.
Yeah, but no. Okay, to me, honestly, I'd actually, genuinely, I'd say a D because they've underperformed for their usual standards. But that's just a Sean Dyche standard. For that standard of team, they are overperforming every single year. They shouldn't be in the Premier League. So
no, I'm sorry. I'm going with I'll go with an E.
Okay, fair enough.
Because they've scored 4 goals in 9 games, and that's
but they're in the Premier League.
they've done better than that for where you were expecting.
Yeah, that's what I mean. For their
standard. They should be where Arsenal are, 14th, 15th, because they've got the know-how. They've got. The
all right. Do you want to stop fucking chucking it in? All right, I heard you the first 100 times that Arsenal are 14.
Yeah, all right.
They should be where Arsenal are.
And then finally, there's only one grade for it. Sheffield United.
Yeah, that's an F. That's an F.
They're gone.
Honestly, though, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. That like Chris Wilder he sets such high standards. I don't understand what's happened to it. I don't know if they've been really unlucky. I'll be honest with you. I haven't watched a lot of Sheffield United games. I don't know if they've just been consistently incredibly unlucky. But how many points have they got?
1.
1 point after 10 games? 10 games.
Played 10, lost 9.
Shit.
Scored 4. Same as Burnley.
One of them against Arsenal, of course.
That's the thing, at least bear in mind, so Fulham have scored 11, so Fulham have nearly scored 3 times as many goals as both of them.
Fulham have scored more than Arsenal then?
No, they haven't. They have.
Yeah, Arsenal scored 10, yeah.
Wild. Hilarious.
Wild.
You're the 4th lowest scoring team in the league.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but Tom, hang on, mate. It's just because we don't finish the chances. We create loads.
Oh, of course, yeah.
we create bloody loads of chances.
You're creating enough chances to finish these games, just not finish.
Yeah, to win every single game.
Of course.
No, I know.
So you should be top. Oh, fair play, Mikel.
Idiot. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. That's all he's saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Sheffield United, I don't understand what's happened. I really don't. I honestly did think they were going to finish 5th or 6th. They were just so impressive last season. The only thing that
they did drop off, though.
They did, but the only thing that has changed is Dean Henderson for Ramsdale. But that is a huge drop-off. Don't get me wrong, I think Ramsdale's a good keeper, but Dean Henderson is just class, awesome.
Yeah, and they just can't score. And I think it's I hate to bash players, but because I think Ollie McBurney is an absolute legend. Swansea fans love him. I follow him on social media, and he is great value for it. But the Scottish national team are giving him a bit of grief at the moment. I think he's 12 or 13 games in. He's never scored for them. And he's starting most of their games. But he's a £25 million player. I think £20 million player. He's just not that.
Brewster, 25
Brewster hasn't scored yet, I don't think. But I don't think he's playing that much at the moment. I think Wilder's probably too scared to play him. I don't know.
He's played enough games to score.
Yeah,
it's just about whether they create. It's just about whether they create enough, isn't it?
Exactly,
I don't know. I just think their whole. I know you're saying they don't score enough goals, but I just think their whole standard has just dropped off. Like they used to, even if they didn't create much, it was quite entertaining watching Sheffield United.
Yeah,
like they really fought and battled for everything, and it just feels like that's kind of, don't know if it's complacency. I don't know what it is.
I think it is goals,
though.
It is goals because you look at, I've obviously got a table in front of me, so it does help. But they've conceded the same number of goals as Southampton.
Oh, that's interesting.
They've conceded less goals. They've conceded less goals than Everton. The same amount of goals as Man United. Less goals than Leeds. So they're defensively,
it's just the scoring, isn't it?
Statistically, defensively, they're still there. It's just to come put the ball in the back of the net. Because all they did last year wasn't it? It was clean sheets after clean sheets. But
that was a weird signing to make, though. Then, if you're going to improve your attacking area, to sign Brewster,
I think they had 25 mil for a striker. Signing. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, but I'm not being funny. I think I'd almost go abroad and just risk it. Because Brewster has not scored goals at a senior. He scored. He didn't even have a great scoring rate in the Championship. He looked good. He looked all right.
Yeah, but it's Championship. He didn't look great. Massive step up.
Yeah, that's
when you look at the fact that who Leeds signed.
Yeah, for quite similar money.
Yeah,
I mean, I know that then you've got the Bielsa effect.
You've got the Bielsa factor, yeah.
And you got Victor Orta as the director of football as well, with all of his Spanish ties. So, yeah, I get it, but I just think if you're gonna spend money on, I'd just go for whoever has the best scoring rate in kind of one of the other European leagues. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think Brewster was the signing.
No, it was an odd one. But then you kind of because they needed proven goals, didn't they? It sounds mad, but they should have Jermaine Defoe may have been a better shout.
Callum Wilson, if they could have convinced it.
Yeah, but I think Callum Wilson wanted to go to a big club.
big club, yeah.
Yeah, and they probably couldn't. That's where Sheffield United probably couldn't afford his wages.
No, it is true.
You think about those things as well. Same problem Burnley have got, isn't it? Lowest wage budget in the league.
Sure.
So.
For sure, yeah. Okay, so we kind of rounded that up then. We'll try and do a little bit of a breakdown maybe on the socials of what we've given teams.
Just
so we can actually kind of summarise it as well.
Jot them down.
And listen back and see, yeah. So you'll never guess who had some awful grades right there. And you'll also never guess who I'm thinking of as a footballer, because it is footballer Guess Who. Smooth. Okay, so in line with the last week's kind of rules, I want you to go through one round of it. I know we talked about making it 4 questions and then an answer. Yeah. But I want you to go through one round of to see how difficult this is.
What pain you have to go through. Fair.
Yeah, so if you get this in 6 questions, I'll be so mad. Okay, so go.
Okay. Are you a current player?
Yes.
Are you a man?
Yes.
Okay. Do you play in the Dutch league?
No.
No, okay.
Have a guess.
So it's not Mario Götze. Are you Ayling from Leeds?
No.
Luke Ayling. You're not Luke Ayling.
No.
Okay. Are you playing in Europe at the moment?
What do you mean? Like
European league
competition or?
Yeah.
Oh,
you're a current player. So in Europe.
I thought you meant Europa League or Champions League.
No.
Is that what you mean? No, right. Okay.
Are you a striker?
No.
Midfielder?
Yes.
Okay.
Have a guess.
Midfielder. So you're a midfielder who's playing in Europe. Martin Odegaard.
No.
Okay, not Odegaard. So I've got Goetze. No, was I Luke Ayling, as if. And then I've got Odegaard. Okay. Number 7, midfielder. Are you playing in the Champions League?
No.
Playing in the Europa League?
No.
I'm never going to get this, then, am I?
Right. See? I told you it's hard.
Well, I could pick the 4th choice left back from Espanyol and not get it. It's not hard, mate. I mean, if somebody's going to have some kind of idea.
Yeah. No, you do know him, so.
Oh well, seems to. Europa League. Have you ever played in the Premier League?
Yes.
Okay.
Have a guess.
David Silva.
No. Can I ask? Why did you ask? Have you ever? Not do you?
Because I already asked that.
You're.
That was my third question.
No, you didn't. No, you
My
asked.
third question was, do you play in the Premier League?
No, it wasn't. It was, do you play in Europe? Have you played? Do you play in a
No, that's
European
fourth
league?
question. That was fourth question. I've written mine down. I went current man Premier League.
No, you
said
didn't.
no.
Right, I'm going to listen back to this recording, but no, you did not.
So I've got down my questions: current man, no to Premier League, in Europe, not a striker, in the midfield, not Champions League, not Europa League, currently has played in the Premier League.
No, right. Well, I'm going to listen back to this recording. You did not ask. You might have written it down. You did not ask. Do you play in the Premier League? You asked. Do you play in the Dutch league?
Dutch league.
Yeah. Right. So that's why I'm wondering why your question was, have you ever played in the Premier League?
Do you currently play in the Premier League?
Yes. And I have also played in the Premier League. Yeah. So I've given you a massive help there. You said, who did you say? You said David Silva.
David Silva.
Okay. So.
Do you play in the Premier League? Oh my God, I'm an idiot.
I was there. Like, I'm sure you haven't asked that.
So not playing the Champions League. Are a midfielder.
Hang on, you asked, are you currently playing in the Champions League? And the answer is no.
Okay.
Not have you ever
played. Okay. Midfielder. 15 questions.
3 more questions now. Yeah. So you got three more before another guess, and then you got another 3.
Okay. So in midfield, playing the Premier League currently. He's not playing the Champions League this season, and not playing the Europa League this season. That rules out pretty much everyone in the top 6. But has played in Champions League in the past. Midfielder.
I didn't say that.
Isn't currently.
Yeah, you said the words hasn't played in the Champions League, and I just said, because I actually don't think he has played in the Champions League. But anyway, sorry, go on.
Okay. So you haven't got the league in front of you now, have you?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to say, does he play for a top half team? Top half is Spurs.
Hang on, I know where this team is. Don't worry, because we just went through it. No.
Okay, so bottom half. Not top half. 10 down. So that rules out City and Arsenal straight away. Not City, not Arsenal. Not City, not Arsenal. Okay. Are you a attacking midfielder?
No. One more question before I guess.
Not attacking. So, are you a holding player?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you've now got, that was what a wasted question.
No.
You now go ask something. Okay, go on.
Holding player who plays for either Aston Villa. Is it Aston Villa, Leeds, Palace?
But hang on, Aston Villa are where?
10th.
Yeah, you said top half, so it's 11th down.
Oh, okay, you're 11th down. Okay. How about we'll go for Milivojevic?
No.
3
more questions. Really hard, this, isn't it? Isn't it really hard?
Are you British?
No.
Not British.
I think I know who you're going to guess for. Guess, and it's not that
British
person.
holding player. Not playing Champions League, so it's definitely not them. I'm going to have to go for it. Do you play for Brighton?
No.
Oh, screwed it. That was my chance. My shot in the dark guess. That's not Brighton. Okay. Do you then...
You got one more question.
Yeah. Do you play for... I don't know any players from these squads. That's the problem now. I don't know any outside of Man City and Arsenal. I don't know the squads that well. I'm trying to think of anybody I'd be able to guess a player from. Plays holder midfield for any of these teams. Do you play for Sheffield United?
No.
No, No
Your
idea.
guess.
Okay, so
I have a feeling you'll be annoyed when I tell you, but go on.
Possibly. Not British. Holding
And not
midfielder.
because this is giving you a clue now. I think you'll be annoyed not because you knew who it was, which you do. I think you'll argue with me over their position.
So
that's all. That sounds worse than I
can't even think of a midfielder who's not British plays these teams. Who isn't Sheffield United, isn't Brighton.
I thought you were going to say Sander Berge. That's
why I'm Sheffield United.
Yeah.
The last question.
I thought that's who you were going to say.
I genuinely can't think of a British player from any of these teams.
No, non-British.
Non-British, sorry. From City, is from Leeds, Newcastle, Brighton. Plays for Brighton. Aaron Moy?
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't play for Brighton. Doesn't play for Brighton.
I'll let you.
I genuinely can't think of a player who isn't British from any of these teams. Burnley. They got anyone? They're all British, aren't they? Everybody who plays for Burnley's British.
Oh no, Goodmanson. He's not. He's Icelandic.
I want it to be someone. I've got a feeling it's from Palace. Let's go for.
You can't look through the squads.
Well, I can't think of anyone from Palace. I literally can't think of any player from Palace.
I didn't look through the squad. You gave me an advantage of a team name from relegated teams because I was getting confused with the seasons. You can't.
You got Turkish. That helped. Didn't
it? Exactly. Yeah, because I had the player's name, the player in my head already. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked that question, would I? I would have just randomly picked Turkey.
Player.
Stop looking. Well, you got to go have a think. Think about your FIFA careers.
I've literally just owned my first FIFA for the first time in like 10, 15 years. Longer than that, 20 years with. Who bloody hell plays for West Brom? Central midfield. Or defensive, sorry. Holding midfield.
Just have a guess of someone, come on. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know any players. I don't watch these games, they're never on TV. Because every player I can think of these holding positions are all British. I've already said Milivojevic.
Okay,
all I think of is Calvin Phillips, Isaac Hayden, Tom Cairney.
But they're all British.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. I can't think of anybody who isn't British.
Right. Okay, well, I'll give you a clue. He's played in the Europa League and the Champions League.
That's what I thought. I was going to go Ruben Neves, but obviously he plays for Wolves. Max Meyer for Palace. I don't know, he's not a holding player.
No. Okay, I'm going to give you like tipping point. I'm going to give you
I'm never
3 more counters.
Never. I can't even think of players who play in that position.
Okay.
Who aren't British.
Your guesses were Milivojevic and sorry, what was it? Milivojevic,
whatever his name is, yeah.
And Max Meyer, both from Crystal Palace. You said I have a feeling it's a player from Crystal Palace.
Yeah, but I can think of a player.
Riedeveld.
Who?
What do you mean? Riedeveld, number 40. What do you mean? He used to play for Ajax. Played in the Europa League final against United. Came across the Palace, number 44. De Boer's only signing to revolutionise Palace. What do you mean you've never heard of him?
Genuinely never heard
of him. Are you Googling him because you don't believe he's a player?
No, he might play there, but
he's started every game for this season. He's been there for 4 seasons.
Apart from their last game.
Yeah.
And also the game before that.
To be fair, when we were doing this, I said, you're never getting this one.
Oh, no, he did play the first game. He played the first hour.
To be fair, though, I will give you, considering I didn't really give you that many clues, you gave me the relegated teams just because I was getting confused, so that helped me last time, and that's why I then got to enjoy. It was still impressive to get it because there was still 3 teams.
Very impressive. I thought you were never getting that one.
Your questioning to get down to pretty much a Palace player was very impressive. If you'd have just known the other players in the squad, you would have got it. Because Max Meyer isn't even defensive.
No, he's not. I know he's not. But I've just said a name. I genuinely couldn't think of anybody. Couldn't think of anybody who played in that position at all, who in my head was a holding player. He never bloody plays a full 90 minutes either. Comes off, going back through the results now, he comes off after an hour in every single game.
I don't care. He is still a football player.
Horrendous for you next time.
I thought you were going to argue with me because he came through the youth system at Ajax as a left back / centre defensive mid, and then with Palace has only played CDM. So after his first 7 appearances as at left back, didn't win De Boer a game.
and also has started the season on the bench every game. Did you say he's played every game? He didn't play against Everton. He didn't play against United. He didn't play against Newcastle. Didn't play against Southampton.
He's pretty much played every game. He's played 8 times this season. They've only played 10 games, so he must have played quite a few of them.
Well, there's 5 games he hasn't played already. Okay,
you're getting wrong.
He came in for 2 minutes in one of the games.
I don't care. He is a Premier League player.
Yeah, he is. Well, I'm going for 8th choice left backs next time. Let's go for it. I cannot wait to scour the under 18s for Sheffield United just to see how well you get on there. Dream.
Someone who's played like 10 minutes of a game once.
Yeah, exactly. Once. 15 years ago. How do you not know him? Surely, come on.
Are we next time we'll do 4 questions and an answer. I reckon that's what we need to put it to. 3 questions.
20 questions makes sense because that's like a game, isn't it? 20 questions.
Yeah. Okay, nice.
That makes more sense. So,
right. Okay, well, that was good. I enjoyed that one as a roundup of a podcast. We'll be back in the new year. Things will be a little bit different from things that we've discussed so far and ideas that we've got. So hope you've enjoyed listening to season 1. I'll be honest, I wouldn't recommend it at this stage, but we're just figuring out how all of this sort of stuff works. So if you have enjoyed listening, then great, and it will only get better from here to come. So thanks for the support in series 1. We'll see you in the new year. Have a great Christmas, and take care.